Let's revisit difference of squares. We spent the entire chapter working on foiling. Now we're going to work the opposite, and we're going to factor what's been foiled. For example, if we had a, this was, difference of squares was a plus b, a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. So did you read it? What do you think? Huh? Oh. Okay, so a squared, a plus b, a minus b, factored out when we foiled a times a. First was a squared, outer was a negative ab, inner was a positive ab, and the last was a negative b squared. Negative ab plus ab left us with the a squared minus b squared. So we went from this to this. Now today, we're going to go from this back the other way. Not so bad. We're going to say a squared minus 49. It's called difference of squares because it's a square of a, and 49 is a square of 7. So what I need to do is set it up as such. If I know it's difference of squares, I'm going to have an a here, an a there. You already told me that 49 is a square of 7. Difference of squares works out to be what? A and minus. There it is.
Wait, so why is it possible?
That's just how it works out when we did this here. Difference of squares. This is what difference of squares is. A plus b, a minus b. One positive, one negative. With a being the same, b being the same. That gives us the a squared minus b squared. Okay? All right? But there is a catch. There is a rule numero uno for all of these. All of these going forward. Find the GCF. Was there a GCF in a squared minus 49? Do they have any factors in common? They don't have 7 in common. A squared, are there any digits there? No. They didn't have anything in common, so I could go right ahead and factor it out as a plus 7, a minus 7. Okay? Then I had the green light. Now, however, let's take a look at one like this. 2a squared minus 98. First thing we need to do is identify or just look and see if there is a GCF. And if there is one, Marlia, what is it? 2. So watch what happens. I'll pull the 2 on the outside of the set of parentheses just like you did for today. Multiply 2 times what to get 2a squared? A squared, still negative, and then multiply 2 times what to get 98? 40. 49. From here, once we've found a GCF of 2, that will still go on the outside. Do I have difference of squares here now? A squared minus 4. We just did this one. So 2a plus 7, a minus 7. So Mark, when we talked on Friday, and you said, what difference does it make if I pull out the right GCF? Because if I multiply it back again, I'm still going to get it. Now you see why it's important that you pull exactly out what it is. Okay. Yeah?
So what we're doing is we have to find the GCF to get that right there.
At least for today. Sometimes there will be a GCF, like here, and other times there may not be.
So what do we do when there's no GCF?
What do we do when there's no GCF? Then it looked exactly like this. It was a squared minus 49.
That's it.
Do a squared and 49 have any factors in common? Are there any digits here in front of the a that would be right? So then we could go right ahead with this. But when we started, they both were divisible by 2. So that's what we did. Okay? Now let's look at another one. Nine x squared minus 64 y squared. Okay? Let's look numerically. Do 9 and 64 have any factors in common? No. I cannot multiply 7 times anything to get 9 or 64.
No, 63.
Yes. So 9 times something gives me 64? No. It's okay if they don't have a GCF. They don't have one. So, watch carefully. Difference of squares. 9x squared is a square of what? 9 is a square of 3. X squared is a square of x. 64 is a square of 8. And y squared is a square of y. Now all we need to do is put a plus and a minus, and we're set. And it's kind of like tying your shoelace and then just untie it again. Like,
Oh, that's...
16x squared minus 1. Is there a GCF between 16 and 1? So do I need to even put it out if it's 1? No, because they all have 1, right? They would all have 1, so it's not going to change anything. So let's take a look. Once we establish that there's no GCF, we can go ahead and try to factor using difference of squares. So yes, one's going to be plus, one's going to be minus. 16, just kind of take it piece by piece until you get used to it. 16 is a square of what, Mark? An x squared, 4x and 4x, and 1 is a square of what? 1, right? 1 times 1 is 1. So 4x plus 1, 4x minus 1. Sure.
And 3. No, not ready.
No, so we can go right ahead with the difference of squares. So Kate, square of 1 is, one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. Square of 64, 8. Square of a squared is a. Square of b squared is b. And there we have it. Yeah. What if we come across something that what? Oh, so like, if you have 4k squared minus 3m squared. We look at it, we say, first thing we check, numero uno, we check 4a. And between 4 and 3, we don't have one. K and M, we don't have one. So we go ahead and we set it up, getting ready for difference of squares. And we say, okay, 4k squared is a square of 2k, right? And negative 3m squared, is it a square of anything? No. So therefore, if you ran across something like that, you could just say, not possible. Okay. Pardon me?
So you could only put them in the square above.
Right. Right. If it's squareable, sure. 16a squared. Now, let me just clarify by saying something before you get started on this one. What's different already about this one than the other ones that you looked at? Okay. But rule number 1, go for it. See if you can factor it with this. Now, you have to throw out what? If it's addition, you have to throw what out? Difference of squares, because that is not a difference. That's not a negative. That's adding. So find a GCF and factor. Okay, GCF. GCF is 16. Do they have anything variable-wise in common? They do not. So a squared plus, yeah? 16 times what is 32? 2 what? And that's that. Okay? So they kind of take you through a section where they look at difference of squares. In fact, open up to 190. It's page 190. You can see right away some of those that are subtraction right away, differences, and some that are addition. Do not confuse one like number 17, though. Can we take a look at number 17? Negative 9 plus a 4y squared. Is there another way which we could write this where we might be able to see different squares evident? Kate? 4y squared minus 9. And the first thing still I want to check is for GCF. Between a 4 and a 9, nothing. No variables because they both don't have variables. So let's set up for difference of squares. 4 is the square of 2. Y squared is the square of y plus and minus what? 3. Yes. Positive 9? Because it's not a positive 9. I have to keep the signs consistent. I can move them. Remember our little shopping bags? I can move them, but I got to pick them up and set them down. All right? Oh, yeah. Okay, what did you get for a GCF? Remember one of my biggest problems with math and algebra class was that when I was trying to have one class, there was constant conversation with the other class. Remember? Then I had to start taking recess away and everything else. You guys haven't stopped talking since you've had class be done. The only other option I can think of is that everybody does both math classes. I take away that half for everybody. So math does math and algebra. Algebra does math and algebra. And we do it that way. If that's the only way I can keep you quiet when it's not your turn. Okay? That's my warning. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. I got to do both. It will, however, affect you greatly if you've got to do both. That's double the homework. Okay, so here's what I have. If I pull out a 16, right, and I need to get 16a squared. We're going to multiply 16 by to get 16a squared. A squared. 16 times a squared gives me 16a squared. So over here, 16 times what? 16 times what's going to give me 32? 2, and I still need the b squared. Do you see any on, let's separate it into numbers 1 through 25. You see any in 1 through 25 that could be, that just look difficult or look odd or look foreign to you? Marlia? Sure, you got it. Do 21. All right. Did 144 and 25 have a GCF? What do you do if you don't know? I would say let's look at the 25. What are the factors of 25? Yeah. And 4 is not a factor of 25. 5 and 25, basically, right? Is 144 divisible by 5? Then it's also not going to be divisible by 25 either, right? So it does not have, because B and A aren't the same. All right? So there is no GCF to speak of. This, folks, is difference of squares, whether you realize it or not. 144 is a square of what? 12. What is 12 groups of 12 called? Not a dozen. A gross. How do they sell bottle rockets, right? Fireworks? By the gross. 12 packs of 12. Anyway, so if it's difference of squares, I've got a plus. Oh, 12a, sorry. And then 25 is the square of, Marlia? 5b, right? Plus 5b minus 5b. Well, it wouldn't be possible. Right? They would have to be, yeah, they would have to be squared. Anything else in that section 1 through 25? 1 through 25, you're not really going to find any GCFs. 1 through 25 is going to play it about as straight as it gets. We'll separate that. We'll worry about the next part of it tomorrow and work on that. But at least you've seen with the GCFs. This is just going to be straight difference of squares, or well, maybe not. What about, yeah, 17, we already did one that was like that. We just switched it around. Okay. So let's do this. Let's work on these for tomorrow. Page 190. Numbers 2 through 24 even. And a redo. $186. We did 34 to 50 even. $22 to 30 even.